If you open the file in Revit, you should find this. It's the building that we have been analyzing. But the first thing that you can notice is that you can't select the building. And why is that? Because we're working with the discipline. Here, you see that the discipline is mechanical. If we change this to architectural discipline, and now we can select the building elements, but I don't want that, okay? So don't change, it has to be mechanical. So in the mechanical discipline, we only can select and work with mechanical elements. So I have inserted this mechanical element. This is a split unit. I will explain that now. And why do I want a different file? Well, this is the same building that we have been analyzing. We changed the size of the windows. We changed the walls, the layers, and we have the first energy analysis. So why can't we work with the same building that we're working with? Well, Revit, or Building Information Modeling, in theory, is a tool in which, well, it's meant to integrate different elements. We have structure, we have architecture, we have mechanical. And well, in theory, it works well, in theory. But in the reality, I have had a lot of problems when I test the energy simulation. Okay, so remember that in Analyze, you can analyze the system analysis, and I don't want you to do that. Don't do it, because when we are dealing with mechanical equipment, and then you want to run the energy analysis, it doesn't work well. It doesn't work well because we have to perforate the roofs, and yeah, we have to do a lot of things that usually Revit doesn't like. Okay, so here we don't have any spaces. So you need at least two, you need to work with two different files on the same building. One simplified file just to analyze the spaces and the thermal performance. And if we want to do anything else, if we want to work with the structural, with the mechanical or whatever, we need a different file. Because usually if we connect everything on the same file, the energy simulation doesn't work well. So that's why I'm using here something different. Remember that one of the things that we did is to remove the false ceiling. If you go to section 1, well, in section 1, you see that we can select so I don't want that. So every time you change something, change the discipline to mechanical, because I don't want you to change the levels, or I don't want you to change the roof by mistake. So one of the things that we removed at the beginning was the false ceiling, because the false ceiling was giving us some problems when we were creating the spaces. So in order to have a good space, we remove the false ceiling. But in this case, if we want to work with this element, and what is this element? This is an indoor split unit. This is the kind of unit that we have, for example, in the office area. We have this kind of elements attached to the false ceiling. So this element only works when it has a host. So in this case, the host is the false ceiling. If we okay, so if it's here, if I move the section line here, so you see that that element is attached to the false ceiling, and that space between the false ceiling and the floor and the slab, the roof slab, this is what we call the plenum. Okay, but it has to be here. Okay, so we need to have a false ceiling, and then we need to attach this element, this air conditioning element. Okay, so let's work with this. This is, it shows up on level 0, that's fine. And we need one of those in every single room. So I'm going to select this one. I'm going to copy. And I need one of those in every single room, including the lobby. Okay, so I'm going to place it here in the middle of the lobby. So we have these mechanical elements, these split units, one per room, including the lobby. So when we go to the 3D view, we need to see 5 of those. Do you all have this on the Revit file? Oh, yeah. This is what happens in the real world. These things are meant to be perfectly wrong. Okay, so if it's slightly tilted, then Revit can find the right values. So that this is what happens in the reality. You try to connect this to that, to this that, and they are not perpendicular. It's impossible to find another material to connect this. Okay? So try it. There. Oh. Yeah. They were working from there. No, we did this. Yeah. If there is not a particular angle, then we won't find the right. So now we have to keep going. We have one here that is not connected. So at some point we have to try to draw a pipe here, and then we have to connect it here again. So we can do this. Select this one, draw that, and well, up to this point, and then we have to go here, and now they are connected. We can change this elbow because I think that works better. And now we have to connect this loose end to the air handling unit. So it has to be within the building. here. Okay. Now I have to draw that. So make sure that you highlight this. Okay, so it's aligned with the with this tab in the air handling unit. So we can stop here. And now Revit will do something wonderful. It's like a miracle. If we select the air handling unit and we right click here, we draw that, and we just go to the midpoint of this duct, okay? I think Revit will do all the work. Let's see. Apparently it has done it, and there you go. So we have this element that goes out of the air handling unit. It goes down, and then it connects. It has the reduction, the elbow. So Revit does everything we need to do. That we can have in a building. Okay, so we have the air handling unit. The air handling unit gets the air and then supplies the air to this. This is the system that we have in the office space. Here we have something different, but so with that element, we are supplying fresh air, and with this, we are heating or warming up that air. Okay, so this is the air conditioning unit, and it's on the roof. And if you go to the offices, or I'm sure that a lot of buildings on campus, they have this element. Okay, so they have this thing on the false ceiling, and we only see a grid, and we can control this supplying warm or cool air, depends. Okay, unfortunately, that would be enough maybe in the 70s or in the 80s, but now it's not. Because if we look at the this schematic view, so this is what we have done. Okay, so we have the box here, we have the air supply, and then we have this element. So we have connected this to these elements. Here we have 2 floors. In the Revit file, we only have 1 floor. But that's what we are doing. From the air handling unit, we have to do that. But now it's mandatory that we need the return, and then we have to go back to the air handling unit. Okay, why? Because we have to make the most of this temperature that we have in this air. The air is not healthy, but it's a good temperature. It's a comfort temperature. So we need that device inside the air handling unit. We need the heat recovery so that we can recover part of this temperature. We mix air at 70 Fahrenheit with air at 0 Fahrenheit or 20 or whatever. And we heat up this air for free. Okay, so that's a very good way to save a lot of energy in ventilation. The downside is that we need more ducts. Okay, so let's do it. Now, in every single room, go to level 0. In every single room, we have the supply. Now we need the return. Okay, so and that gives yeah. So now we start having trouble because we need a return air, and okay, so we need to go to the air handling unit, to one of those with the return. So how can we do it? Well, if you go to systems, air terminals, save the project. The first thing that appears here is the return diffuser. If you click here, we have exhaust, return, and supply. We already have the supply, okay? So we do the supply through this. So now we have to insert the return diffuser. So select this 24 phase 12 by 12. And now we need a return diffuser. It has to be in the same room. We need a return diffuser. So make it as close as possible to that wall. So we have a return diffuser here. And we need another return diffuser in the lobby. So let's place it here. Okay. If we go to the 3D view, Revit, okay, what does it do? We don't want the return diffuser on the floor. It has to be, these are grills, okay? So those are diffusers. So these are really long diffusers, but they have to be on the false ceiling. So we have to move them up. So on the 3D view, we have to select all the return diffusers. They are by default on level 0. And the elevation from level 0, let's make it level 10 feet. And now they are in the right level. Okay, so now we have to create like a ductwork that connects all the return diffusers. Now we have constraints because we have the supply diffuser. So they have to be at different levels. Okay, so if we look at the right view, we see that the return diffuser is there. This is the supply duct. So now we don't want intersections between the supply and the return. We have to, we have to move it up at a different level. Okay, so how can we do it? Let's go back to level 0. And we need a duct that connects all these return diffusers. So first, we're going to do the duct. Okay, so here in systems, we have air terminals. Here, on the left side, we have ducts. So select duct. By default, we have this rectangular. I want to select a round duct. And here the diameter is 12. Okay, so I think 12 is good. We are on level 0. And be careful because middle elevation, we have 40 feet. I don't know why we have this by default. Well, probably because I have copied this template from a different file and 40 makes sense. But now we're going to use here, let's say 12 feet, because I think the supply diffuser is at 10. So we are going to make it at 12 feet. And now I want to draw a diffuser here. Okay, so don't get to the air handling unit, stop there. So now we have to see what we have done. Okay, that makes sense. So we have this 12. What is the size of this? This diameter is 6. Okay, so let's make it a little smaller. If we select that one, the diameter can be 10 inches. Okay, so let's make it 10. But here we see that the return diffuser, well, it's above this one, that's fine, but it gets into the roof. So that's the roof. So half of this duct, it's in the roof. So we have to change the level, the mid elevation. Let's make it 11 inches. 11 inches is not enough. So let's make 11 feet and 5 inches. Okay, so now I think it goes well. You see that it's just above this, so there will be no intersection, and it's not within the roof. So I think that's the right. Okay, so you select the duct. The diameter has to be 10, and the mid elevation has to be 11 feet 5 inches, and I think that works just fine. Okay, so now we have to connect the return diffusers to this return duct. By the way, okay, a lot of things to consider. If I select this, I am focusing on the elevation and the diameter. It's 10. it's the middle elevation, it's 11 and 5 inches, but the system type is supply. We have to change because we are going to connect a return diffuser, and this has to be a return duct. So this supply, it's wrong, it has to be returned. Okay, so select the duct. Let's go step by step. First, the diameter, 10 inches. Second, middle elevation, 11 feet, 5 inches. Third, it has to be returned. Because if we connect a supply duct to a return diffuser, Revit will go crazy. Okay. So now we can connect this to this. So we select the diffuser, right click, do not select draw duct, select draw flex duct. Select this one. And now click here on this point that it's there on the, and Revit does it, okay, with the flex duct. So flex ducts are great because if we don't have the constraints of the perpendicular angles, whatever, with the flex duct, we can do whatever we feel like. Okay. So we have already done this. And now we have to, we have to connect all these elements to the return duct. And eventually we have to connect the air handling unit to this duct. I'm going to connect the air handling unit because, well, I know Revit, and here we have two inlets, but the inlet that really works is this one, that it's at the top. You see the symbol here? We have a square with just one line here with one diagonal. If you click this one, we have the same symbol. Okay, but if we click here, this is we have two diagonals here. Well, that's what Revit wants us to do. Okay, so we have to connect this symbol to this symbol here. So it's at the top. Well, in this case, the Revit family has the return duct there at the top. And that makes the thing a little more difficult because when we click here and we draw ducts, we can't go directly this way. It doesn't work, okay? So we have to go up and then we have to go horizontal. How can we go up? Select this, right click, draw duct. We have to change the elevation. You see that here? We have the middle elevation. By default, it's 5 feet and 11 inches. Let's make it 7 feet. And you see that it goes up. And now you can go in this direction. Okay, so this is how it has to work. And now if we go to the top view, if we select this element and we drag it up to this point, Revit will do all the work connecting vertically and creating that elbow there. Okay. So now what's next? We have to connect all these to the return duct. I will do it from level 0. If we click here, right click, use the flex duct because it will be way easier. Click here, and now this Revit always has this issue with the T. Okay, so it doesn't make sense because it creates a T facing upwards, and it doesn't make sense. You have to rotate the T, and then I never tried this. Can I do that and rotate? No, there is no rotation here. I have to delete the flex duct. I have to select the T. I have to rotate it the other way around. okay? And now that's the right way. Now we can select this one, draw the flex duct, click here, and there you go. So we have to do this as many times as return diffusers we have, including with this one. Okay, so how can we do that with this one? Let's move it here because we have to get rid of all that stuff. And by using a flex duct here, I can come to this point. I have the same issue with the T. Okay, so that doesn't make sense. So I have to delete the duct. I have to rotate the T. And now I have to go from this point to that point. Oh, doesn't look the best option. Okay, I have to do something different here because this is not working. I can draw a duct here. And I can use the flex duct only from this point to that point. Yeah, that makes more sense. And yeah, this is, okay, I can make this duct a little smaller. It's 12, I can make it 10. And now we don't have this issue. Okay, so that's important. We need a gap between the duct and the roof.